The shocking scream of twisting metal and shattering glass tore through the Lagos night. Kemi's brand new, canary yellow Lamborghini, the symbol of her dizzying rise to fame, was now wrapped around a concrete pole on the Lekki Expressway. Inside the crushed luxury car, Kemi was trapped, her leg pinned, her beautiful face streaked with blood and tears. But this was no accident. Just moments before, her two best friends, Adesuwa and Folake, had been in the car with her, laughing. Now, they were standing outside on the road, watching her struggle, their faces cold and without pity. Adesuwa slowly pulled out her phone, not to call for help, but to take a picture. "The Lamborghini Babes are over," she said, her voice as cold as ice. Kemi, in pain and shock, could only whisper one desperate question: "Why, sisters, why?" But the answer was lost as a strange, shadowy figure emerged from the bushes beside the road, walking slowly towards the wreck. Who was this mysterious person, and were they coming to help Kemi, or to finish what her friends had started? Hello, welcome to the Echoes from the Baobab Tree. Before we continue, if you're finding this story compelling, consider subscribing. We post new African stories every week, and your support allows us to keep bringing you these deeply interesting stories. Now, back to the story. Let us rewind 1 year, to a sunny afternoon in October. We are in the bustling city of Accra, Ghana. This is where our story truly begins, not with screams, but with dreams. Kemi, Adesuwa, and Folake were 3 young women sharing a small apartment in East Legon. They were struggling but hopeful. Kemi sold beautiful African print clothes online. Adesuwa was a makeup artist looking for big clients. Folake worked long hours at a bank. They were like sisters, promising to always lift each other up. One day, Kemi would say, her eyes shining, "We will all be rich and drive big cars." They would laugh and hug, believing their friendship was unbreakable. Little did they know, a single event was about to test their bond in ways they could never imagine. The change began in December, during a trip to Kemi's hometown in Murange, Kenya. Kemi had gone to visit her elderly grandmother, Mama Engina. Mama Engina was very sick. On her last day, she called Kemi to her old bed. Her voice was weak but her eyes were clear. "My child," she whispered, holding Kemi's hand tightly. "Under the big mango tree behind the house, I have buried a gift for you. It is for you alone. Use it to change your life." With those mysterious words, Mama Engina closed her eyes and passed away peacefully. Kemi's heart was filled with sadness, but also with a burning curiosity. What could her grandmother have buried? 2 days after the funeral, under the moonlight, Kemi dug at the base of the giant mango tree. Her shovel finally hit something hard. It was a rusty, old metal box. Inside, she did not find gold or jewels. Instead, she found a single, ancient-looking leather pouch. Inside the pouch were 3 things: a small, carved wooden elephant, a bundle of old Nigerian naira notes, and a handwritten letter. The letter explained that the wooden elephant was a sacred family totem, a blessing for good fortune passed down through generations. The money was an old savings. The letter ended with a stern warning: "This blessing is for you, the true heart. Share the wealth it brings, but never reveal its secret source. Greed and betrayal will turn the blessing into a terrible curse." Kemi felt a shiver run down her spine. Was this real? Back in Accra, strange and wonderful things started happening to Kemi. It began small. A client for her clothing business, a famous actress, placed a huge order and posted it online. Suddenly, thousands of people wanted Kemi's designs. Then, she entered a simple online contest for entrepreneurs on a whim. A month later, she received an email: she had won the first prize of $100,000. Kemi was overjoyed but also frightened. The wooden elephant, which she kept under her pillow, seemed to hum with a gentle warmth. She remembered her grandmother's warning. Nervously, she shared some of the money with Adesuwa and Folake, telling them it was part of her prize. She bought them new phones and paid their rent for a year. Their gratitude made her happy. She pushed the warning to the back of her mind. By March, Kemi's business was a superstar. She moved them all into a huge, furnished apartment in Lagos, Nigeria, where opportunities were bigger. She bought a fleet of cars, but the crown jewel was the yellow Lamborghini she gifted herself for her birthday. The press called them the Lamborghini Babes. They were always together at parties, in magazines, and on social media, looking glamorous and perfect. But a slow poison was growing in the hearts of her friends. Adesuwa, scrolling through photos of them in Kemi's car, felt a bitter knot in her stomach. Why is she always the star? We are just her shadows, she muttered to Folake one night. Folake, who had grown lazy and loved the free luxury, nodded slowly. Without us, she is nothing. We deserve more. Much more. The seed of betrayal had been planted. The first crack appeared in June. Kemi wanted to start a charity foundation to help girls in rural villages go to school. This money is a blessing, she told her friends excitedly. We must use it to bless others. Adesuwa and Folake looked at her as if she were crazy. Give it away. Adesuwa hissed, her jealousy finally exploding. You want to throw our money at villagers while we could be investing in Dubai properties? Have you lost your mind, Kemi? Kemi was shocked. This was not the sister she knew. A fierce argument followed, filled with hurtful words. For the first time, the luxurious penthouse felt cold and empty. A week after the fight, Folake made a discovery. While Kemi was out, she went into her room to borrow a necklace. She knocked the pillow over, and the small wooden elephant fell to the floor. Picking it up, she felt a strange, warm tingling in her hand. She also found the edge of Mama Angina's old letter peeking from under the dresser. Her eyes widened as she read the words, secret sauce and the curse. Her heart raced with a greedy excitement. This was the secret to Kemi's wealth. She quickly took pictures of everything with her phone and rushed to show Adesuwa. That foolish girl! Adesuwa exclaimed, reading the letter in their private lounge later that evening. She has a magic totem and she is hiding it from us. All this wealth was never about her hard work. It was stolen from us. We deserve that elephant. They hatched a cruel plan. They would be extra sweet to Kemi, apologizing for their behavior. Then, during a drive to a party in Lagos, they would confront her, demand the elephant, and take it. If she refused, well, they would make her refuse. Adesuwa's eyes were dark with hatred. If it brings good fortune, then let it bring that fortune to us. We will take what is ours. The night of the party arrived. Kemi, hoping to mend their friendship, agreed to drive them all in her Lamborghini. She felt happy, thinking the old bond was returning. As they sped down the dark Lekki expressway, Adesuwa brought up the charity again, mocking it. When Kemi defended her plan, Folake suddenly shouted, "Enough. We know about the wooden elephant, Kemi. Your grandmother's magic toy. Give it to us now." Kemi was so stunned she swerved the car. How do you know about that? No. I can't. It's not for taking, it's a sacred trust. What happened next was a blur of anger. Adesuwa, in a rage, grabbed the steering wheel. If we can't have it, no one will, she screamed. The powerful car, caught in a struggle, veered off the road with a terrifying screech and smashed into the concrete pole. The impact was devastating. In the stunned, painful silence that followed inside the wreck, Kemi saw her sisters climb out, unhurt. They looked at her trapped in her luxury car, not with horror, but with calm satisfaction. And as Adesuwa took her cruel photograph, Kemi saw the shadowy figure approaching from the dark roadside. It was an old woman, dressed in simple village clothes, her eyes glowing with a fierce, ancient light. It was the spirit of Mama Angina. The curse had been awakened. The old woman, Mama Njana's spirit moved with a silence that swallowed the noise of the distant traffic. Her feet did not seem to touch the ground. Adesuwa and Folake, frozen with the phone still in hand, felt the air grow thick and cold. They could not see the spirit's face clearly, but they felt her ancient, angry eyes upon them. Kemi, trapped in the metal, saw her grandmother, and a single tear of recognition and shame rolled down her cheek. The spirit pointed a bony finger not at Kemi, but at the two women standing over the wreck. Her voice, when it came, was like the rustling of dry leaves and the crash of thunder all at once. You have touched the sacred with greedy hands. You have broken the sister bond with a wicked heart. The blessing is now a curse. And it will follow you. A sudden wind whipped around Adesuwa and Folake, and the phone in Adesuwa's hand sparked and went dead. The spirit then turned her gaze to Kemi, and her expression softened with pity before she faded into the night, leaving only terror and a ringing silence behind. The police and an ambulance arrived 10 minutes later, called by other drivers. Kemi was carefully pulled from the wreck and rushed to a private hospital in Ikeja. Her injuries were serious, a broken leg, cuts, and shock, but the doctor said she would live. Adesuwa and Folake, however, told a smooth, practiced lie to the police. Our friend was driving too fast, Adesuwa said, fake tears in her eyes. She was showing off the car's power and lost control. We are so traumatized. With no evidence to prove otherwise, their story was believed. As Kemi slept under heavy medicine, her two former friends stood outside her hospital room. She will tell everyone about the elephant when she wakes up, Folake whispered, panic in her voice. We have to get it first. They slipped into Kemi's room and stole the small wooden elephant from her bag. Holding it, they felt a rush of excitement. Now, Adesuwa said, a wicked smile on her face, the fortune is ours. 2 weeks later, Kemi was discharged from the hospital, walking with crutches. She was a different woman, quieter, sadder, and utterly alone. The news headlines had turned against her, calling her a reckless, proud socialite. Her business began to suffer. But her heart had not from the bad press, but from the deep betrayal. She returned to their empty penthouse. Adesuwa and Folake had taken their things and vanished. On her bed, she found a single, mocking note, "We have what we deserve. Don't look for us." Kemi sank to the floor and wept. She had lost everything, her friends, her trust, and her grandmother's sacred trust. What she didn't know was that the curse was already working. Let us follow Adesuwa and Folake. They had fled to a luxurious hotel in Accra, Ghana, clutching the wooden elephant. They felt powerful. Their first plan was to use its magic for a big business deal. Adesuwa reached out to a wealthy man she knew, convincing him to invest a huge sum in a fake skincare company. The man, strangely eager, agreed immediately. The two women celebrated, thinking the elephant's power was real for them too. They transferred the investment money, over $500,000, into a new bank account. See? Adesuwa laughed, holding the elephant. The fortune is finally with the right people. But that very night, Folake had a terrible, screaming nightmare where Mama Njana's spirit chased her through a dark forest. The next morning, their luck began to sour. The wealthy investor called, his voice full of confusion. I don't know why I agreed to that, he said. I've changed my mind. Return my money immediately. But when Adesuwa checked the bank account, her blood ran cold. The money was gone. Every single dollar had vanished overnight. The bank manager said there was no record of the transfer ever arriving. Panic set in. Then, Folake's face broke out in a painful, blistering rash that no cream could cure. Their hotel room was constantly cold, no matter how high they turned the air conditioning off. The wooden elephant on the table now felt cold and heavy, not warm and lucky. Meanwhile, in Lagos, Kemi was trying to rebuild her life from ashes. She sold the wrecked Lamborghini for scraps and used the little money she had left to rent a small studio apartment. One night, as she prayed, a clear thought entered her mind, like her grandmother's whisper: the blessing was never in the object, my child. It was always in the pure heart that chooses to share. Start again. Start small. Start true. The next day, with her crutches, Kemi went to a local market in Suralaya. She bought simple fabrics and, with her skilled hands, began making just 5 beautiful dresses. She posted them online with the honest story: starting over. One stitch at a time. The response was small, but kind. Back in Accra, Adesuwa and Folake were falling apart. The cause was twisting their lives. Adesuwa's reputation as a makeup artist was destroyed when a famous client publicly accused her of stealing jewelry, a necklace Adesuwa had never even touched. Folake's bank called to say her old accounts were frozen due to suspicious activity linked to the missing investment money. They argued constantly, each blaming the other. The elephant sat between them, a thing of dread. In a fury, Folake grabbed it and threw it against the wall. "It's not working. It's just a stupid piece of wood." But as it hit the floor, the wood didn't break. Instead, it let out a low, sad hum that made the lights flicker. They stared at it in horror, finally understanding this was no simple toy. 3 months passed. Kemi's small dress business was growing slowly, steadily, and honestly. She had hired 2 young girls from her neighborhood to help, teaching them her skills. The joy of helping others began to heal her heart. She even started saving a little money for the girls' school she still dreamed of. One afternoon, a package arrived. It was from a lawyer in Kenya. Inside were the old, official documents for a small piece of land in Murange that Mama Njina had owned. The lawyer's letter stated it was now legally Kemi's. It was not worth a fortune, but it was solid, real, and earned through love. This was her true inheritance. For Adesuwa and Folake, the curse reached its peak. Broke and desperate, they decided to sell the wooden elephant to a collector of African artifacts. The collector, a serious man in Abuja, examined it and offered them a large sum of cash. Relieved, they took the money and ran. But as they drove away, celebrating their escape, police cars surrounded their taxi. The collector had reported them for selling a stolen ritual artifact of great cultural heritage, a crime in Nigeria. The police found them. As she was handcuffed, Adesuwa looked back at the collector's house. In the window, for a second, she thought she saw the old woman, Mama Njina, nodding slowly. Divine justice had arrived, not with a shout, but with the cold click of handcuffs. 1 year later, on a bright sunny day, Kemi stood on the cleared land in Murange, watching the foundations being dug for her new project, the Mama Njina Learning Center for Girls. She was walking without crutches now, stronger. Her clothing business was modest but successful, funding the construction. She had true friends in the community around her. News had reached her of Adesuwa and Folake's arrest and upcoming trial. She felt a pound of sadness for the sisters she once had, but no hatred. The curse had done its work, the betrayal had been answered. As the workers cheered, Kemi looked up at the clear blue sky and smiled. The real blessing, she now knew, was not a magical totem that brought shiny cars and easy money. It was a clear conscience, a helpful hand, and a heart that no betrayal could permanently break. Her grandmother's true gift was not wealth, but wisdom. And that was something no one could ever steal.